So good evening everyone. This is Gyanaranjan Patra once again. And so today is our third day, and for our ninth session we have the guest with us. He is Professor Sarath Kumar Palit. Let me take this opportunity to introduce him, and it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Professor Palita to our institute and to this particular faculty development program. Professor Palita presently holds the responsibility of Vice Chancellor in charge for the Central University of Odisha, which is situated at Koraput. He is the professor and head of the Department of Biodiversity and Conservation of Natural Resources Department in the Central University of Odisha and Dean of the school. He has a teaching career spanning more than 37 years, and he has taught in two prestigious autonomous colleges of Odisha. He did his doctoral research on biological studies of white tiger with special reference to the Nandankanan Biological Park, Odisha, India. His area of research includes conservation biology, diversity and distribution of mangrove fauna and faunal distribution, and ecology in forest ecosystems. Under his guidance, 5 scholars were awarded PhD, 7 scholars are working for PhD, 12 scholars were awarded MPhil degrees. Professor Palita has published more than 45 research publications in reputed international and national journals, one book on bats of Odisha, and several book chapters. He has handled several research projects, and he has been acting as a reviewer of many international journals like Biodiversity and Conservation, Tropical Ecology, Journal of Asia Pacific Biodiversity, threatened taxa, etc. Professor Palita likes to write popular scientific articles in Odia on topics related to wildlife and environmental issues. He was awarded with the prestigious Red Cross Award 2017 for outstanding contribution by a specially abled person. He has visited countries like Belgium, Netherlands, and Italy and presented papers in international conferences. Earlier, he had also shouldered the responsibility of Vice Chancellor in charge of Odisha, of Central University of Odisha for a period of 9 months during 2019. He has also shouldered many responsibilities in Central University of Odisha, such as Dean of School, Chairman of Preparations of NAC Peer Team Visit, Chairman of several important committees, and presently he is the director of internal quality assurance cell, that is IQAC, and the director of research and development of Central University of Odisha. So Professor Palita is here to discuss about National Education Policy 2020. I We are honored to have you as our guest, sir. We hope the this particular discussion, it gives a chance to the participants learning about nuances about the topic. I Over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
The coordinator, Professor Mihir Narayan Mohanty, and Dr. Ganaranjan Patra, who introduced me. Thanks for nice introduction. And all the participants all over the country for this program. On behalf of the Central University of Odisha, Koraput, I give my best wishes to all of you. Wish you a very happy time. And I am thankful that I have been given an opportunity to talk to the larger masses to know about the National Education Policy 2020, which was started last year. Okay, I am going to give my presentation. How to do that?
Sir, there should be an icon with a upper arrow mark. So if you
And
click
then
on that. And then after that, sir, will you be using PDF or PPT, sir?
PPT.
Okay, then choose the screen or desktop, whatever is there. Click
That
on it.
it's not coming
And
only open share tray. Okay.
so
Then
automatically it gets shared. I think I
then
have started presenting.
okay. Is my presentation coming?
No, sir. Just click on the screen and that should work, sir.
Which one? Man, just after the arrow.
Yes.
Okay. Then now it is coming.
No, sir.
Then there must be some.
Under that arrow,
Yes.
you'll have
Oh,
screen. Just click
screen
on the
share.
screen. That should be showing your desktop, etc.
Okay. Now it is okay. I
I
think now
think.
it is coming.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So during the sharing, I cannot see anybody. I think the screen is there.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is unfortunate. Okay.
Only possible if you have a second monitor. Otherwise, you'll have to
Okay.
assume that we are all there, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody again. So uh, National Education Policy 2020. You see, I will start that when the government of India decided to launch national education policy, what was the status then? So you see, by now we know that India is an emerging global power, not in terms of its terms of military power, economic power, but and it is one of the most populous countries in the world and the largest democracy. So on that basis, you can say over the past 25 years, India's economic expansion has vaulted it into the ranks of the world's emerging major powers. A rising India now wants a seat at the table of global powers. With its huge military and growing economy, India is ready to set its own terms on everything from defense to climate and to trade. That means India is now recognized as a power. India's rise to power has led to speculation and expectation about how it will change the global order. On the one hand, India is huge with more than 1.3 billion people and on track to become the world's third largest economy. So when a country is becoming a world power, naturally its education system must have something to say. And already there are books on it. This is a writer, Alisa Ayers, who has written a book, Our Time Has Come, means how India is making its place in the world. That means India's time has come in the world powers. Despite being one of the fastest growing economy in the world, so far has only seen two education policy revamps post-independence. After 1947, India has got two education policy, first in the year 1968, followed by 1986. In the meantime, of the government of India has come out with a national education policy 2020 on 29th July 2020. The new policy is aimed at bringing effective and substantial changes right from the preschooling stage of a student to become a better prepared for a modern world which is majorly driven by intellect and skill. So this national policy of education of government of India speaks of everything of education, starting from the preschool to the highest degree available and the nature of infrastructure, the nature of schooling, the standard of teachers, everything related to education. And what should a modern education system be? You see, before launching of NEP, let us see what was the advantage in favor of India, whether in cost of. So coming to robust demand, India has the largest population in the world with around 580 million in the age bracket of 5 to 24 years, presenting a huge opportunity in the education sector. It has over 250 million school going students, more than any other country. Application for the study in India program has increased by 146%. Now people are also coming to India. We have heard that during the Talanda time of Nalanda, the people of various countries visited India, but now it tide is changing. Competitive advantage. Large English-speaking population allows easy delivery of educational products. India was ranked 50 out of 100 countries in English Proficiency Index 2020. Am I audible? Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. 12 Indian schools, including the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, and 6 Indian Institutes of Technology, were among the top 500 universities in the QS graduate employability ranking. So, this is the condition, and policy support. 100% FDI, automatic route, is allowed in the education sector in India. So, with all this backing behind, the government of India came out to launch National Education Policy 2020. And you see, this is a evolution of education policy. On the right side, you can see this is Professor Kothari, who was given, is popularly known as Kothari Commission 1966. During Indira Gandhi's government, it announced the first national policy on education in 1968 based on recommendation of the Education Commission, popularly known as Kothari Commission. And Kothari Commission first time said, treat science as a basic component in education, improve research in science and technology, improve productivity, and he said 6% of GDP in education should be spent. This is the first concrete proposal or concrete commission which said about how the India's education should be. Then it was followed by 1986 National Policy of Education 1986 during Rajiv Gandhi's prime ministership. And what was this? You can see Rajiv Gandhi government launched a new education policy focusing on adult education, empowerment of minority. But there are many things. Removal of disparities and equal educational opportunity, especially for women, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Expand scholarship and launch of Operation Blackboard to improve primary education, 6% of GDP on education. This also said that 6% should be spent. Fulfill compulsory education for all. Children up to the age of 14 should get compulsory education, and it was enshrined in the Article 45. But it was not made a fundamental right. You see, during 1986, it was accepted by Government of India that children up to the age of 14 should get compulsory education, but this was expression of interest, but not a change. Thrust on access and equity and not excellence and quality. So, but 1986 said there must be thrust on access and equity, but it didn't say about excellence and quality. Article 21A of the Constitution 2002 makes later on education a fundamental right. So later on, the same Congress government when came in, during the Vajpayee's time, prime ministership of Vajpayee, the education became a fundamental right. RTI Act was enacted in 2009. But later on, you can see in the 1992 when P.V. Narasimha Rao became the prime minister, he has modification of 1986 National Education Policy and adding a common entrance examination for professional and technical programs. You see, earlier, individual universities are conducting exams, and just like the technical education now, AICT have a hold, but at that time, individual organization having their own entrance. But for the first time in 1992, it was decided that professional and technical programs will have a common entrance test. Next, 2005, when Manmohan Singh became the prime minister, new education policy introduced by Manmohan Singh government based on common minimum program, CMP. Then came present Prime Minister Modi, the new education policy by Narendra Modi government addressing. So for the first time, Narendra Modi government said no to become a world power, to become one something in the country of the nations. We have to come with a new education policy. And 2016-17, a new education plan with major changes scheduled to be launched by the Narendra Modi government, and later in 2020 it was launched. Before that, you see, there are a lot of things we have seen that many private organizations came into higher education, just like SOA, KIDS, in Odisha and all over the country, there are many important private players in higher education. So before National Education Policy 2020 came, there was a Birla Ambani report 2000, which say that was the time when economic liberalization of 90s started. LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization. Private industry bill in science and technology and management. For the first time, Government of India came that private players can play a role in science and technology and management. UGC was restricted to general education and liberal arts. FDI limited to science and technology and management. Foreign direct investment, government allowed. Existing center of excellence to establish international centers. So this committee, so for the first time, there is a privatization of higher education. And it was said, higher education is a non-merit good. That means for the first time they say that that means higher education is not a merit good. It is a non-merit good, and it brought sharp criticism from the educationists and the academicians. But that was the time of privatization. Then in the year 2012, a Narayan Mohanty committee was raised or established, and we all know Infosys Narayan Mohanty. What he said, you can see 80% of Indian, for the first time it is said, 80% of Indian youngsters not properly trained for any job because of faulty education. So Narayan Mohanty Commission or committee said, no doubt we are giving higher education, but there is a lot problem in our higher education system. The young people who are coming out of any institute, whether general or technical, they are not fit for any job. 80, maybe 20% of them are okay, others are not okay because they are not skilled. So this committee mostly said there is a shortage of faculty, 45% of professors, 53% of assistant professors in all India basis. Infrastructure of 73% of colleges and 68% of universities are medium to low category. So when you are comparing yourself to an international standard, then they said that this is the standard of our university and colleges. Infrastructure is very important, and teacher and infrastructure are more important, but there is a problem. Then NASCOM, the National Association of Software and Service Companies, they say out of the total graduates, only 25% are employable. That means they can apply for employment, but only 25% they have capacity or they are easily eligible to be getting a job. That a word came employable. So he suggested there needs to be enhancing of our research focus and faculty development. Complete autonomy to individual institutions. Creation of knowledge clusters, not one individual institution. Institution, researchers and corporate world to work together. So now you see, when we want to do something, now we are expanding. Because knowledge is not limited, we have to coordinate. So its committee said that we require knowledge clusters. Promote public-private partnership. Till the time it was under government class, public, but it said that public and private institutions should come together for education. And there are many concerns. Employability, as I have told you. National Skill Development Corporation, NCDC, trained 5.5 lakh workers by 2016. Out of that, only 12% trainers qualified for jobs. As we also know that in many times, students from engineering getting degree also do not, all the students do not get, because the employability is a problem. Indian Skill Report 2020, only 46% student employable. Only 5% received formal vocational education versus 52% in USA, 75% in Germany, and 96% in South Korea. You see, when India is emerging as a power, we have to see that our vocational education status is very limited, only 5%. Innovation not coming out from the institutions due to medium of instruction being English. In majority of the places, it's not accepted. Centralized control of university, excessive bureaucratization. These are the problems where even somebody has innovation, that innovation is not coming out. 38% of 993 universities and 78% of 39,931 colleges are privately managed. Most of them modest to poor quality. That means a major chunk of higher education is controlled by private people, and the quality of education is not high. Poor funding by states, they don't get enough funding. Research entirely funded by center, and for research activity to private university, private colleges, or to public university, public colleges, everything comes from the center, and there are no other sources. So these are the concern, that even if India has come 75 years up to independence, no doubt there is change, perceptible change and development, but development should be world standard. And now we are in a world village. World is connected, and in a interconnected world, you have to put yourself strong. So for that matter, this is assessment, that what is our status, what is standard, whether we are employable or not, whether we have skill or not, whether our college and schools are up to mark or not, and whether they have a right infrastructure or not. Do they provide a right condition or not? Is it okay? Is it okay? Hello? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, with this in background, the government of India came with National Education Policy 2020. And let us see, then what is the thrust, where they wanted to give the important focus and thrust. So, National Education Policy 2020 outlines the vision of India's new education system and focuses on 5 pillars. You can see these pillars: affordability, accessibility, quality, equity, and accountability, which will lead to continual learning, ensure continue. So these are the 5 pillars of our education system. If this is okay, then there will be continual learning. And you see, India is a country of diversity. Now in paper we find that a student, children of a rickshaw puller or a common man gets IS. That means people talent is not only restricted to rich or poor. So, but we require a condition where they can get exposed. So, calls for a need to acquire new skills on a regular basis. So, this NEP 2020 focused on skill, acquiring new skills on a regular basis in consistency with the need of the citizen as a demand for knowledge in society and economy. So, when the society is developing, economy is expanding. Suppose somebody from this place who has got a job in America and reaching America or England, he found that he is not okay. Then he has to go for a training. The time which went on training, acquiring the skills could have been done here. So, another thrust was providing quality education and creating lifelong learning opportunity for all. You see, that means no doubt we are providing education, but this National Policy of Education said that our thrust is that we have to provide quality education, and learning must be lifelong. It doesn't end any place, leading to full and productive employment and decent work as enlisted by Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. We know that United Nations have come out with a Sustainable Development Goal, 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and it has been said that we have to achieve to become a sustainable world, to survive in the world, on the holocaust of climate change. We require a Sustainable Development Goal of 17, and in that, quality education is one of the important things. It forms a comprehensive framework to transform both elementary and higher education in India by 2040. So the focus of the present National Policy of Education is that by 2040, both of our elementary to higher education, there must be a transformation, change in relation to quality education, skill-oriented education with these 5 pillars. Then NEP 2020 calls for a key reform in both school and higher education to prepare the next generation to thrive, survive, and compete in the new digital age. So not only we now thrive or survive, we compete and survive. emphasis upon multidisciplinarity, digital literacy, written. You see, when we say multidisciplinarity, suppose in +2 science, you entered into +2 science, you have to read physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology. You may read a language or something. But even if you want, suppose you had an interest to go for something else, sociology, psychology, you are not given the opportunity. That means we are going one track. Emphasis upon multidisciplinarity, digital literacy, written communication, problem solving, logical reasoning, and vocational exposure. So these are the area where we want to develop. That is the focus of NEP 2020. So what are the very important aspects of this? Improve. So it was decided that through this we have to improve early childhood care and education. That means preschool education is to be also given importance. Ensure foundational learning for all. Before a children goes to school, his foundation should be okay. Multidimensional learning and the liberal arts. Achieve goal 4 of sustainable development goal, quality education, already I have told. Importance of research and innovation. Internalization of education. You can see. That means the education should be imbibed, and in picture you can see this has been given in picture, ideal outputs of the school education policy. That means if we go in a right direction, we will achieve a lot of things. So research and innovation from the early career is also required. So what is the problem? So now we have said, so what we are going through now? Major problems currently faced in higher education in India. A severely fragmented and higher educational system, ecosystem. Less emphasis on the development of cognitive skills and learning outcomes. A teacher comes, teaches, goes away. You are asked to appear in the exam. If the exam paper is okay, you are getting mark. But we are giving less focus on practical aspect, skills, and learning outcomes. And we do not see, if you have written something in the paper and it is okay, you get passed. But whatever you learn, whether in practical field you can do it, that our present system doesn't help in that. Maybe in science there may be something, but still it is not 100%. Science and in engineering there is something, but it's not foolproof. Mostly it is classroom method. Teacher comes, teaches, exams are given, and marks are given. A rigid separation of discipline. If you are reading science, you have no contact with social aspects, and somebody social science cannot know the science. With early specialization and streaming of students into narrow areas of study. So once you enter into a science stream, even if you required, you cannot go. Even if you are entering into arts, you cannot come. So very rigid structure. Arts, science, commerce, no combination at any place. Limited access, particularly in socio-economically disadvantaged area, with few higher education institutions that teach in local language. There are many areas where local language is not being taught. English is the only thing, and that creates also a problem according to this. Limited teacher and institutional autonomy. Teacher has no autonomy. Institution has also no autonomy in compared to others. So when a teacher is not free, and the institution is also not free to develop things, it is all the time under pressure. So that their innovation cannot come. Creativity cannot come. And you go to most of the developed countries, there you find the teachers and researchers, they are given the high status, social status, and they have also to come up to that. Research is the basis of development. Inadequate mechanisms for merit-based career management and progression of faculty and institutional leaders. You can see. In our country, the seniority is counted, the merit of a candidate or merit of a person is not counted, and that is, but elsewhere that is not there. Lesser emphasis on research at most universities and colleges, and a lack of competitive peer-reviewed research funding across disciplines. No doubt there are some research in some colleges and universities, but emphasis is not on that. And When research work is going on, that is also not peer reviewed. Nobody is there to see how it is going on, what is the standard of the research, and when publication comes, whether the publication is up peer reviewed or not. So now government is coming with regulatory mechanisms that you can publish a paper, but it will not be accepted. Then suboptimal governance and leadership. And you see, during the freedom struggle, we know that many higher education institutions came up. Some of them are top class, but now there are many higher education institutions, but they are simply distributing certificates. That means governance and leadership, and a student coming out of that doesn't feel that he can compete in the world. An ineffective regulatory system. Large affiliating universities resulting in low standard of undergraduate education. Under one university, there may be 400, 500 colleges. By name, they are affiliated colleges. University has no time, university authority has no time to go to these colleges to see the standards and whether there is infrastructure, teachers are being paid or not, quality of the teacher, student, this is not seen. So this affiliating system is also a problem at the undergraduate education level. Then, what are fundamental principles which came out in this national policy of education? What more so for the first time, the recognize and foster unique capability of each student. That means each student should be looked upon, need to be recognized. And what is the unique capability, and that need to be nurtured. It said, highest priority to foundational literacy and numeracy. In the beginning, a student, early education, schooling, it should get enough of a foundation. It should know its literature, social aspect, culture. Now you see, there are many students, they do not know the history, they do not know their culture, many things. So it's said that in early education, it must be ingrained. No separation between arts and science. Earlier, the rigid separation will not be there now. Multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary education. A student of engineering can also opt for reading some social science and arts courses. He will have that opportunity. And encourage creativity and critical thinking. This need to be. You see, these are very good aspects which have been said. Provided it is implemented, it can bring a lot of changes. Encourage creativity and critical thinking. Access to quality education is a basic right to every child. You see, I have been a teacher for last 37 years. The way colleges and schools and universities are made, you are asked to complete courses. There is no opportunity to look at a specialized children, specialized student. Teacher shortage is maximum. Employability is a problem. Teachers are not paid properly. Lot of problem. So when all these basic problems are there, quality will be a far away thing. Access to quality education is a basic right to every child, because in the year 2022 it was made a fundamental right. Inclusive and equitable quality education and promotion of lifelong learning opportunity by 2030. That means learning is a lifelong thing. Anybody can have learning for throughout life. Now we have a stuff after MSc, MA, MTech, everything over. But there must be also opportunity to shift from horizontal movement is there. Promoting multilingualism and the power of language. That is also important. Life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience are also the important framework of the national education policy. Skill, communication skill, how to make friends, how to work with. You see, if you have seen a engineering, that means software engineer and all this, they are working day and night. They have to have a best communication. They have to work for the organization. They need to cooperation and teamwork, and they must have a resilience to work. Focus on regular formative assessment for learning. Regular formative, that means whatever you are learning, that must undergo assessment. What you are learning, what are the stages, whether you are improving or not. Extensive use of technology is teaching and learning. That means now we must use more and more technology. Respect for diversity and respect for local context. You see, diversity of language, diversity of culture, various things. So that need to get a respect. Synergy in curriculum across all levels of education. You see, whether you are reading at Delhi or at Bhubaneswar or at Koraput or at Tiruchirappalli or at Bombay, wherever, the course must have a synergy, connection, similarity, homogeneity. And many times we discuss that university has a higher standard of education. The syllabi is very good. The course content are good. That means it is said that all these must have a homogeneity. Teachers and faculty as the heart of learning process. Yes, it's true. But till now we know that unless teachers, researchers, faculty are given freedom and to handle things in a best of way, quality of education will be very far-fetched. Light but tight regulatory framework to ensure integrity, transparency, and resource efficiency. That means at the institutional level, at the level of individual research funding, institutional infrastructure funding, all this must have a transparent and that means quality oriented control at the top. Now you see, just like AICT and UGC, these are bodies, but they have only control through the papers. That means there must be some more and more regulatory framework to bring integrity and transparency in the organizations. Research must be outstanding. When we say outstanding research, it must be world standard. And friends, if you know that, we know that now presently journals are there. They have a site score. They have index, Scopus and other index are coming. And you know that there is an impact factor. There are journals with high impact factor. Government of India has come out with regulations that care listed journals. So that means whatever your research you are coming out, this must have a standard, international standard. You cannot simply publish papers and say I have done research. No, your research must be contributing and it must be international standard. That is called outstanding research. Continuous review of progress. Whether simply classroom teaching and research must be reviewed. Hello? Hello? Is it okay?
Yes, yes. Yes, sir, you can continue.
So, you see, when we are discussing, these are the very important aspects. So, teaching and research, quality of teaching, teacher, all these are given a important focus, but it should be all India basis and it should be international standard. Then, for the first time, it is said undergraduate degree will be either 3 to 4 year duration. You see, up to now, we have an undergraduate degree of 3 years, postgraduate degree of 2 years. Now they propose that all need not go for a honors degree. Somebody who do not want a specialization can complete graduation with 3 years. And if he has a specialization, he will be given the final year, 4 year, where there will be focus of research. And next level, postgraduate level, there will be 1 year. And a student who has 3 years of research, 3 years of graduation, if he wants to PG, he will have 2 year PG. So for the first time, and there is another aspect I will be coming regarding that means suppose somebody is going for a 3 years course, after 1 year he or she could not continue, but that 1 year is lost. Even somebody has continued for 2 years, but she or he has not completed 3rd year exam. So our degree or his degree has no value. So now this NEP provides opportunity. After 1 year, if you have successfully completed a certificate, 2 years a diploma, that means you can exit. Multiple exit options. Earlier there was no exit option. You have gone into graduation, you have to go for 3 years, otherwise your degree is null and void. So multiple exit options and appropriation certifications. That means at each stage you will be provided. Suppose after graduation of 1 year, somebody is not interested in that course, he can leave, she can leave, and but he or she will be given a certificate. That means she has or he has completed a certificate course. She or he can pursue something else. After 2 years, there is a diploma, and he or she can leave. These are exit options. Then academic bank of credit, to store academic credits and earn from recognized higher education, so that a degree can be awarded taking into account credits earned. Now you see that it will be credit based education. Your total teaching will be into credits. How many credits of course you have read, and accordingly there will be academic bank of credit at all India level. And you can also get education from books platforms, other platforms, and you can get credits. And after 1 year, you may leave that institution and go to another, you can get another credit. So this credit will be there in the bank of credit, and when you apply, all these credit will be combined, because there is a synergy, there is a synergy in your type of education, similar type of education present. So whether you are working in reading in this institution or that institution, the institution earlier you have got credit, from outside you are getting credit. All this credit will be there in a bank of credit, and from this bank of credit your total certification will come. Setting up new quality higher educational institutions will be made easier. Higher educational performing exceptionally well and will be helped by the government to expand their institution. New quality higher educational institution will be established by the government, where funding, everything will be there, quality will be there, and all these institutions will help each other. Public philanthropic partnership. Suppose some person wants to give some donation, crores of rupees to another research organization, they can give. And these models should be allowed. Public philanthropic partnership models may be piloted to expand access. That means somebody has money and he wants to pay. So government has to accept it, and that can help higher education. So philanthropism can be there. Then two aspects I will be dealing separately. Autonomy for higher educational institutions. Stage-wise mechanism for granting graded autonomy to colleges through a transparent system of graded accreditation. It says that now the colleges, there are some colleges which are called as affiliated colleges. There are some colleges which are called as autonomous colleges. And there are universities. And there are some affiliated university, and there are some unitary university. Whereas Utkal University is a affiliated university, SOA is a SOA is, I think, it is a unitary university. It has no affiliated colleges. So gradually, individual colleges will be getting autonomy, and there must be a transparent system. Autonomy means they will have their own course curriculum according to requirement, according to the local condition, and they can frame local conditioned courses to suit the requirement, and it will not be thrust from outside, but there must be a synergy. Once higher education institution receives the appropriate accreditation, a board of governors can govern it without external interference. So it comes to the accreditation, graded accreditation. We know that we have heard about NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bangalore. There is a National Board of Accreditation for Engineering. So all these are there. So gradually it will also go up to the colleges. These accreditation bodies will gradually give graded stage-wise accreditation, and that will help govern the institution better. Fees for private higher education institution will be fixed with an upper limit. You see, many of the higher educational institutions, whether in schools or in colleges, engineering colleges, or so private bodies, they are charging a high amount, but that is to be government controlled. You know that now in Delhi, the Supreme Court has also given verdicts that you cannot charge maximum. So they have fixed a ceiling. You cannot charge beyond this. That means the education must be public funded, no doubt, but the person's capability must be there to read. You cannot charge anything. So that means there will be control on private higher education institution. All fees will be fully disclosed, and there will be no arbitrary increase during the period of enrollment of any student. That means when a student got admitted, the fee which was there, until the end, the fee cannot be changed. Or if it is changed, it must have some genuineness. So that means this NEP gives more and more autonomy and control. Autonomy at the level of universities and colleges, but there must be clear-cut controlling mechanism for these educational institutions. Then education to remain public spirited. Earlier, we have come through the public funding. You see, lakhs of students, poor, marginalized community, they have now come to the mainstream. And you see, it is because of in India, health and education was public funded. Now, education has been costly. So it is said that it doesn't say education to be public funded, but say public spirited. Priyanjali ଗୋଟେ seminar ରେ ଅଛି, meeting ସରିଲେ ରାତିରେ କଥା ହବ. Okay. Private philanthropic efforts for quality education will be encouraged. But before that, education is a public good. You see, earlier Birla Ambani report, it said education is a non-merit good. But now it is said education is a public good, must not be commercial activity or a source of profit. So when education is given, it is not for commercial activity and it is not for profit. So it is a public good. Government accepts that it is a public good. And then say all education institutions will be held to standard of audit and disclosure as a not for profit entity. That means there must be auditing that these organizations are not for profit but for quality, providing quality education, and it is not for commercial activity. No doubt there is organization to survive and sustain, but sole aim is not commercial, sole aim is not for profit. That is to be audited. And private philanthropic efforts for quality education will be encouraged. That means if private people want to pay money, they support the higher education, that will be allowed. Public funding, that means government funding along with private funding, private philanthropy will be allowed. So I think we have broadly said that what are the conditions in which national policy on higher education or education was launched in 2020, what were the concerns, what are the problems, and the most important thing is that India to become a global leader, its education, elementary education to higher education need to be strengthened, quality oriented and skill focused. That was the thing. So there is a necessity, you see, that in India, it is such a large country, very, very large country, and second largest country in the world, with 1/6 of the population of the whole world, and with such a big population, and poverty is still a part with around 50% of the population. So quality education is really a big thing. To achieve quality education, education is given, but to achieve quality education with support of skilled manpower, providing skill and quality is really very difficult. That means that requires institutional restructuring and consolidation. All the institutions which are providing education, they need to be restructured. Their structure. So by 2040, all higher educational institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions, each of which will aim to have 3,000 or more students, and it will have a multidisciplinary education. Gradually, you see, gradually engineering colleges are opening up for social science and other branches. You go to IIT have social science and other aspects, and other general institutions are now coming out with engineering and other aspects. That means a student must have enough opportunity in the campus to read its variety of things. And suppose a graduate with political science can also go for technical education. There is no bar, but present degree does not allow it. So there must be multidisciplinarity, flexibility that is there. And now this envisages by 2040, all higher educational institutions shall aim to have multidisciplinary institutions, and any institution must have minimum 3,000 students. there shall be by 2030 at least one large multidisciplinary higher education institution in or near every district. Every district must have a multidisciplinary education institution, higher education institution, where everything is available in one campus. Art, science, commerce, skill development centers, everything, whatnot. Starting from computer to basic skills. Computer is a modern skill. You see, now many things are coming, artificial intelligence. And many new things are coming. And there must be opportunity for a student to go for everything. The aim will be to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education. Presently, India has a gross enrollment ratio of 26.3%, and this NEP 22020 envisages that it's need to be 50% by 2035, because the countries with which we are competing, for example, in Asia, China is the biggest partner. Its gross enrollment ratio is maximum. Japan is there. Korea is there. Other countries are coming out. Australia is there. And European countries and America, with which we want to compete and come to standard, their gross enrollment ratio is maximum. And you know that in India, across the states, gross enrollment ratio greatly varies also. That need to come to standard by 2035. The definition of university will thus allow a spectrum of institutions that range from, you see, now you say a university specific, it is an engineering university, it is a medical university, it is a research university, or there are universities where teaching is going on, research, some teachers are interested. But now the definition is changing. Those universities that place equal emphasis on teaching and research, they will be called as research intensive universities. That means along with normal teaching, there will be research continually. That means research and teaching together, these universities will be called as research intensive universities. For the faculty, for the student, along with academics, teaching and research will go together. And you see, we have heard that a lot of changes, lot in the last 200 years or say 300 years, a lot of scientific development came from European world, America, not from this part, not from the Asiatic region and Africa region. Why? Some Renaissance change came and change came. But before that, those countries were not very highly developed. But because of innovations and change, you see, Oxford is a 400, 500 years of university. Oxford is a great temple. Oxford, Cambridge, these are rated very high because their research and teachings are up to great standard. So we have to maintain that standard research. So those in the coming time, there will be universities which will be called research intensive university. Those universities that place greater emphasis on teaching but still conduct significant research, they will be teaching intensive university. That means here mostly they are teaching, they can carry on research, so they will be teaching intensive universities. Then there will be autonomous degree granting colleges, will refer to a large multidisciplinary that grants undergraduate degree. You see, now there are many colleges under a university. Whether you go to, suppose the Presidency College of Calcutta, now it has become a autonomous college, Presidency College. It was earlier under Calcutta University. Later it become, now it is a university. So now there is a graded autonomy and they are changing. So similarly, there are many colleges which are being granted autonomous degree and they can give their own certificates. So large multidisciplinary that grants undergraduate degree and is primarily focused on undergraduate teaching, though it would not be restricted to that. That means below the university, there will be colleges which will call as autonomous colleges. These autonomous colleges will be degree granting university colleges. They will have a multidisciplinary teaching. They will have teaching intensive conditions as well as research. So that will be encouraged. Institutional restructuring and consolidation. Higher educational institution will support other higher education institutions in their development, community engagement and service, contribution to various fields of practice, faculty development for the higher education system, and to support to school education. Here I want to say that one higher education institution which has grown up, it will support other higher education institution for their development, participation. You see, now during Corona, COVID, the whole world become united through this networking, through these online classes. Maybe online classes cannot be equated with the physical classroom teaching, but in a crisis condition, with the whole world has been connected. Sitting at Koraput, I am talking to all over the country. That means we are being connected. And one education institution is not isolated. They are being connected with one another. So it is said that teaching and learning need not be restricted to one institution. Developmental activity can also be imparted. So one higher education institution can help others to grow. Institution will have the option to run open distance learning and online programs provided they are accredited to do so. That means if a college or university is accredited by its right body and they can offer distance learning, because there are some people who want some degree for something, they don't require a rigorous reading. For them, distance learning will be okay, online programs will be okay. The system of affiliated colleges will be gradually phased out over a period of 15 years through a system of graded autonomy. So as I was telling that there are many colleges. Go to the Delhi University, it is one of the largest affiliating university. Then you can see that Madras University, Kolkata University, Bombay University, and in Odisha, we can say Utkal, Barampur, Sambalpur, they have hundreds of colleges affiliated. But it's not bad that affiliated colleges are there, but standard of teaching, quality of the faculty, infrastructure, all this to be controlled and monitored. So we have seen that this affiliated system of colleges are not going through okay, and gradually will be phased out over a period of 15 years of time. That means by 2035, through a system of graded autonomy and to be carried out in a challenge mode. That means gradually they will give an autonomy, their standard will be updated, infrastructure will be updated. So that is the vision. Overall higher education sector will aim to be an integrated higher education system, including professional and vocational education. So whether degree, general education, professional or vocational education, all these need to be integrated one link to the other. And overall thing is that, you see, we are in a highly communicating, highly interconnected world where your degree must support you survive a respectable life. And you see, there are people, today morning I was going through the net and came to know that a person in Tamil Nadu has prepared a cup, tea cup, which is leak proof, and it is made of rice bran. You see, the innovativeness of the person is important, the skill. And if the skill catches, he will earn million. So we must, that means any student, any teacher, any faculty in educational sector must have freedom. His ideas must be respected. Somebody should listen to him or her. And he should be, or she should be given a condition where her thinking and creativity can grow. Teacher must have that. And this requires an open system, coordinated system, integrated system. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, curriculum of all higher education institutions shall include credit-based courses and projects in the area of community engagement, service, environmental education, and value-based education. That means when a student is going through a course, he or she should be given projects. Projects should be rigidly monitored, and projects should be focused towards community engagement. Suppose an engineering student may see the pollution level of the vehicles used either in Bombay, Delhi, Bhubaneswar, or Bangalore, wherever. He can take a project. Which type of vehicle is producing which type of pollution, and whether this pollution is only affecting human beings or plants or others or not. These are so this is environment related focus, value based education, and you see that means our education system must not only teach us to get a degree, get a job, forget the society, forget the culture. So our education must have a value ingrained. The undergraduate degree will be of either 3 to 4 years. Already I have told you, with multiple exit options within this period, and it can be given certificate courses, diploma courses, or bachelor degree. A certificate course, a certificate degree after completing 1 year in a discipline or field, including vocational or professional area. General degree, or in a engineering college, you are getting to first year, and after that you are coming out, or anywhere technical institution, you get a certificate. A diploma after 2 years of study, bachelor degree after 3 years of program. So this has been envisaged. It will take some time, but I think if properly implemented, this can bring a lot of change. The 4 year multidisciplinary bachelor program, however, shall be the preferred option. But it said that though 3 year is like this, somebody wants to have some proficiency research, he or she can go for a elective or the honors option, and there the BSc degree will be BA degree or graduation degree will be 4 years. Already academic bank of credit, I have told you, shall be established, which will be digitally store the academic credits earned from various recognized institutions, so that the degree from higher education can be given awarded taking into account credits. Suppose you are reading in SOA University or Presidency College or Delhi University, a particular college, but simultaneously you have also got credits from other university, doing a course from other university. So these your credits from your institution and from two other institutions which you have got the courses clear, that means cleared, you have got credits. So those credits will be there. Those credits will be deposited in the bank that is called Academic Bank of Credit or ABC, and this ABC will finally give you a certificate taking your credits together. The 4 year program may also lead to a degree with research if the student completes a rigorous research project in their major area of study as specified by the higher education. So you know that in 3 years, we know that a general degree, but the 4th year, somebody goes for a 4th year graduation, he or she will be given a task of research, and then he or he has to complete. Model public universities for holistic and multidisciplinary education. Government envisages that at par with IIT, IIM, Indian Institute of Management, there will be institution called MERUs, multidisciplinary education and research universities. These are to be established by the government, which will have a holistic, everything available, and multidisciplinary nature will be set up and will aim to attain the highest global standard in quality education. You see, these are very nice things told. Provided this is done, certainly this will go a great way. Higher education institution will focus on research and innovation by setting up startup incubation centers. You see, every university, college, which are a higher education institution, will allow to start incubation centers, technology development centers, centers in frontier areas of research, greater industry academic linkages. And you see, when you go for an incubation with a specific aim to society, to industry, everything, so naturally their industry academia linkage is there. In present day, you are reading something, but you have no connection what is going outside the industry. So industry and academia need to connect with each other. Interdisciplinary research, including humanities and social sciences research. So research should be interdisciplinary. Then optimal learning environment and support for students. Institutions and faculty will have the autonomy to innovate on matters of curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment within a broad framework of higher education qualification. You see, already it has been said that a higher education institution will have a synergy in deciding for their curriculum. But gradually, new things can be innovated and autonomy should be given to the institution to develop their curriculum, the method of teaching, and the assessment. These are there. So gradually it should be robust. All assessment systems shall also be decided by higher education institution, including those that lead to final certification. The CBCS, choice-based credit system, will be revised for instilling innovation and flexibility. Presently, many institutions have choice-based credit system, but that to be refined and more and innovation and flexibility need to come in that. Higher education shall move to a criterion-based grading system that assesses student achievement based on the learning goal for each program. That means basing on the skill, the learning aspect, not only writing in paper, the higher education institution will give a criterion-based grading system. That means grading will be there on these criteria. That how much skilled people are coming, what is their achievement in their specific field, that is to be graded. Higher education institutions shall also move away from high-stake exam. You see, students have a high risk. I have exam and I will go through these papers. I have to remember everything and reproduce. So these are called high-stake exam. That means we have some mid-semester and a final semester. And in the final semester, we have to write so many things. We have to read so many things and reproduce. These are called high-stake exams. So gradually we must move away. That means periodic exam, periodic result, and that should lead you to higher thing. And we should move towards more continuous and comprehensive evaluation. High quality support centers and professional, academic, and career counseling will be made available to all students. Many students go to degree, they come from various backgrounds, but after that there is no counseling. Many students complete their degree and without counseling they don't get any job. So it is the responsibility of the higher education institution to provide career counseling and professional and academic counseling also. All programs, courses, curricula and pedagogy across subjects, including those in class, online and in ODL mode, as well as student support, will aim to achieve global standard. So you see, whatever we have said by now, whether it's offline classes, online classes, open learning system, whatever is there, but it must have a standard, and the standard should not fall in compared to the international standard. Internationalization. Large number of international students studying in India and greater mobility to students in India visit, study and transfer credit or carry out research at institutions abroad and vice versa. You see, our students are going to outside, outside students are now coming. This is called as internationalization. And we must, our system should be such, our degree awarding system should be such. A student going from here need not face any problem. His credit transfer should not be a problem. And standard of research should such, it should be treated equally elsewhere. So India will be promoted as a global study destination, providing premium education at affordable costs. So if all these things, whatever we have said, it is whatever said well, done well, implemented properly, then India can become a global study destination. We have heard there are Takeshila, Nalanda, and many other centers of learning where thousands of people from elsewhere were coming and reading. But now our students are going to outside, few are coming. So unless our standard of education, quality of education, quality of curriculum, if it is not of international standards, it will be difficult. An international students office at each higher education institution hosting foreign students will be set up to coordinate all matters relating to welcoming and supporting students arriving from abroad. So in every institution, there must be an international student office, which will coordinate movement of students from outside to India and from India to outside. That means there will be counseling, they will be coordinating, that is required. Research as well as teaching collaboration and faculty and student exchange with high quality foreign institution will be facilitated. You see, now suppose a student from one college wants to go and read elsewhere. Unless these two colleges have a MOU or collaboration, it cannot go. Students can, a faculty is required in another college, officially it cannot go. So now more and more collaboration, exchange on research and teaching, both at the faculty level and student level, need to be there. That need to be facilitated. So this NEP 2020 thinks of that, and wants to do. Let us hope the best. High performing Indian universities will be encouraged to set up campuses in other countries. You see, that means those universities in India which are treated best and have an international standard, they are also allowed to set up their campus outside, just like international universities in our country. Then you see, whatever we have said, to implement it properly, we require a regulatory system. You see, by now we know that the majority of the institutions in India, which are non-technical, are controlled by University Grants Commission. And all the technical institutions are under AICT. But now government is proposing to have a robust regulatory system. Regulation, accreditation, funding, and academic standard setting will be performed by distinct, independent, and empowered bodies. So government now thinks that they are going to set up the separation of functions would mean that each vertical within Higher Education Commission of India. So now the Higher Education Commission of India will be the highest body, HECI. It would take on a new single role which is relevant, meaningful, and important in the new regulatory scheme. That means at all India level, there will be one organization called HECI. And under this, there will be others. National Higher Education Regulatory Council, NHERC, to be the sole regulator for higher education. For higher education, under HECI, there will be one. Not AICT, not UGC. There will be NHERC. National Accreditation Council. You see, now we have a NAC, we have a NVA. Now it will be a National Accreditation Council. It will be a meta-accrediting body and recognize accreditators. That means now NAC, NBA, and other accrediting body are to be controlled by another council. Now they are controlled by UGC and other AICT. Higher Education Grant Council. Up to this present time, University Grants Commission, UGC, was the granting authority. So now it will be replaced by HEGC, Higher Education Grants Council, to carry out funding and financing. So now these structures are being thought of. Institutions that fund research such as UGC and private and philanthropic body, they will also continue like that. There will be General Education Council, GEC, to frame expected learning outcome. That means every curriculum, what are to be expected, they have to decide. National Research Foundation, NRF, to provide a reliable base of merit-based, equitable, peer-reviewed research funding in all disciplines. So there will be a central funding organization called NRF, which will look at the quality of the publication, quality of the research, and accordingly they will fund research. Professional standard setting bodies to set up standards in field, but will not have any regulatory powers. There will be other bodies called standard setting bodies. You see, this is the regulatory design. HECI, Higher Education. I have already told you about HECI, Higher Education Commission of India. This will be the apex body. Under this, HEGC will be for funding, NHERC will be regulation, NSC for accreditation, and GEC, General Education Council. And under this, there will be National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So this is a complete regulatory thorough change in this. Then there will be professional councils like ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, BCI, Veterinary Council of India, NCT, National Council of Teacher Education, COA, Council of Architectures, NCVET, National Council of Vocational Education and Training. All these professional councils, bodies will act as a professional standard setting. They will be responsible for maintaining standard. Then I will be taking another 5 minutes. What are the major recommendations? So from the beginning to end, early childhood care and education. In the beginning, I was telling that this NP focuses not only higher education, from early childhood education, early childhood care and education, improve quality dimensions in Anganwadis. Now Anganwadis are there where food is given, etc. But nobody knows what education is given there. So the quality of the dimensions in Anganwadis are to be cared. Universal foundational literacy and numeracy by grade 5. up to 5th grade, the universal foundation courses, literacy courses, and numeracy are to be treated. Higher education gross enrollment ratio, I have already told that from 26.3% to 50% by 2035. Multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary liberal education. Research university, I have told you that research intensive university, teaching university, intensive university. So these are called as a type 1. So in India, it is expected that there will be 150 to 300 research universities in the coming time. Teaching university, where teaching is important with research, that will be 1,800 to 2,000. Autonomous college type 3, 5,000 to 10,000. Then support from National Research Foundation. This is 20,000 crore for innovation and research projects that will be provided. Private higher education institution can also develop research university type 1, teaching university type 2, autonomous college type 3. And these private higher education institutions are to be treated equally for research funding. Then internationalization, allow top 100 global university to set up higher education in India. So this also allows not only Indian based university to go outside, 100 best global university to come to India. So you see, that means that there will be very highly competitive. Suppose Oxford will have a campus, Cambridge will have a campus, Massachusetts will have a campus, the type of standard they have. So unless we come to that, you can imagine what will happen. The competition will be so stippling. Then already this aspect I have told you, did not say. Then let us see. Now in 2020, we are having a national policy of education. Last education policy was in 1986. What is the great change? Coming to NEP 1986, it said all-round development of students. Present NEP says multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary liberal education. That means NEP said whatever the education, without changing it, they said that all-round development of student can take place. Now it is felt without a multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, the all-round development cannot take place. Then in 1986 NEP, university was conducting all exams, entrances except IIT and NIT. Now, National Testing Agency, NTA, conducts admission test for UG and PG. So now all are being controlled. And last one, no exit option. Now exit option every year. PG program compulsory 2 year. Now PG program will be with a research focus. It can be 1 year, it can be 2 year. No autonomy was there in institutions. Now all higher education institutions and colleges are autonomous in deciding curriculum and evaluation. MPhil was treated as a pre-research experience and was allowed. Now MPhil has been discontinued from this year. Even my university has discontinued MPhil from this year. NET qualification was minimum for entering into a teaching profession, but now along with NET, PhD is an added qualification for assistant professor. Entry and exit earlier not allowed. NRF is the research funding. Presently UGC the research funding organization, and now it will be NRF, National Research Funding. Choice-based credit system was there. Innovative and flexible competency-based credit system. So credit system will be there, but it will undergo overall change. Then I am coming to end of my education and skilling in cyber security. As per the Global Risk Report 2021 of the World Economic Forum 2021, cyber security failure ranks 4th most critical threat to the world. You see, we know that at times research institutions' website is hacked. Ministry of Defense or defense related things are hacked by China or etc. etc. So now there is a cyber security problem. So cyber education is also required. गोविंद गोटे 10 मिनट पर कथा भी गोटे मीटिंग रे अछि ओके तो आसीबो के आडू ना बाहर छु कोठी छु ओके ओके मैं 10 मिनट पर कथा as education and learning have already moved to cyberspace. You see, now the degree will be kept in National Bank of Credit, and all certification, all everything are now present in website. So now when we are moving more and more to cyberspace, Due to the ongoing pandemic, it has become utmost important to protect the privacy and security of each individual. You have some data, secret data, but that is stolen. So, thus, as adaptation of digitization takes center stage, it is extremely important to make our network and cyberspace secure. In this current scenario, it becomes pertinent that capacity building for cyber security resilience is given prime importance and is included in higher education curriculum, irrespective of stream of learning. So you see, that means now the cyber education related to cyber security should also be a part of higher education. Research and innovation in higher education. One of the key thrust area of NEP 2020 is to encourage high research and development investments from government and private sector. So now it's say that research focus must be there. So government will fund along with private investment. This will encourage innovation and innovative mindset. To facilitate the same, there is a need for a strong industry commitment and close intervention with academia for industry-led skilling, upskilling, and reskilling. And in this connection, I should say that even if India wants to spend a lot, let us see what is the present spending.
यहाँ से स्क्रीन पर भेजा, उसको कहते हैं ये भेज दो, किसके जगह पैसा भेज दो तो हम भी खेलेंगे.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. You can
please continue, sir.
Okay. In this connection, I will take hardly 5 minutes. In this connection, it is to be noted that allocation in India of GDP only 0.69% versus 2.8% by USA, 2.1% by China, 4.3% by Israel, 4.2% by South Korea. So you see, even if now we are prepared to go for this, our spending is so limited that we have to increase. Further, number of researchers per lakh. In 1 lakh, we found 11 people in India as researcher. That is compared to 111 in China, 423 in compared to USA, and 825 Israel. You see, coming to Israel, Israel is very teeny country, less than, you can see, less than Koraput district. Okay, very small place, but it is one of the most developed technologically research in the world, because they have to survive, they have to go for research. So 825 people in 1 lakh are involved in research. So that sort of change is required in India. Further, it becomes pertinent to inculcate the skill sets for driving knowledge about intellectual property rights, IPR, and its protection for delivering benefits from it. In this connection, it is to be noted that as per World Intellectual Property Organization 2017, 13.82 lakh patent application, China 6.07 lakh, 0.47 lakh by India, of which 68%. So it's in comparison to others, 13.8 lakh patent application total, out of which China is 6.7 lakh. That means China, you see, we need not underestimate China. I don't know whatever it does or for other countries, but China is now growing as one of the developed countries in the world. And China is coming out every day with some new innovation of things. That means they are spending a lot and many people are involved and they have new patents. And 6.07 and compared to India 0.47. And out of 0.47, majority of the are from non-resident Indians. Share of scientific publication. USA 17 to 8%, China 17.8%, China 18.6%, India 4.8%. You can see share of scientific publication to the world research. So these are the places where we lack. Then I will come to the last slide. In short, the introduction of NEP 2020 can be considered as an historic step by the government to transform India into a knowledge superpower in the 21st century. Very nicely said, very nicely written, but it needs to be very rightly translated into action. If it is translated rightly into action in all aspects, whether regulation, providing quality education, quality teacher, freedom at the level of teacher and student, research at its best, I think it can herald a new era for India to become a superpower. Thank you all. Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Professor Palit, for presenting the nuances of NEP in this short 1 hour with a lot of slides and examples. I'm sure our participants would have gained enough knowledge and interest in knowing more about national education policy. I think if the participants are requested to ask sir directly if they have any queries, or you can type your queries in the chat box.
Hello.
Participants, if you have any queries, kindly ask. Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yes, participants, if you have any queries regarding NEP, kindly ask. Uh, I don't think anyone has any queries. Then I would request Professor Mohanty to speak a few words, sir. Mihir, sir. Hello.
Where is there?
Yes, sir.
Hello, good evening to all my dear participants and my dear colleagues. I hope you can enjoy each part of this as in AICT norms. And we are thankful enough to Professor Polita, who has given the valuable talk regarding the national education policy and really what exactly the policy is and what we are doing with it. So those things, at least we must have some knowledge and we can know this. Thanks a lot for your enchanting talk and information regarding the education policy. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks to